Free will. It's a concept that has fascinated philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. Are we the masters of our own destiny, freely choosing our actions, or are our decisions the result of forces beyond our control? On the surface, it seems obvious. Of course, we have free will. We make choices every day. What to eat, what to wear, who to love. But when we dig deeper, the question becomes far more complex. What if our choices are illusions? What if every decision we make is shaped by biology, environment, and unseen forces? In this video, we'll unravel the nature of free will, exploring ancient philosophical arguments, scientific insights, and modern perspectives on one of humanity's oldest debates. The ancient debate, free will versus determinism. Let's travel back to ancient Greece, where some of the earliest debates about free will took root. The philosopher Democritus, known for his theory of atoms, believed the universe was like a giant machine. Everything, including human behavior, was determined by the motion of atoms. According to Democritus, free will was an illusion. Our actions were just the inevitable result of cause and effect. But not everyone agreed. Aristotle, one of Greece's most influential thinkers, believed that humans have the power to deliberate and choose between different courses of action. To Aristotle, free will was essential to morality. If we aren't free to choose, how can we be held responsible for our actions? Aristotle's view laid the foundation for the belief that free will is necessary for justice and ethics. Yet, the tension between free will and determinism didn't end there. Centuries later, the Stoics argued for a different perspective. They believed the universe was governed by fate, but that true freedom lay in accepting what we cannot control and mastering our inner reactions. In their eyes, freedom wasn't about changing the world, but about changing how we respond to it. Religious perspectives on free will. The debate over free will extend it into religious thought as well. In Christian theology, thinkers like Saint Augustine grappled with the idea of free will in the context of divine omniscience. If God knows everything, past, present, and future, how can humans truly have free will? Augustine's solution was that God's foreknowledge doesn't cause our choices. We still act freely, even if God already knows what we will choose. In contrast, some interpretations of Islamic and Hindu philosophies lean more toward determinism, emphasizing divine will or karma, where past actions influence future outcomes. Yet, within these traditions, there is often room for individual responsibility, suggesting a complex interplay between destiny and choice. The rise of scientific determinism. In the modern era, science entered the debate, adding new layers of complexity. The 17th century physicist Isaac Newton described a universe governed by laws of motion and causality, where every action has a reaction. This mechanical view of the universe seemed to leave little room for free will. If the universe is like a clockwork machine, then aren't our thoughts and actions just part of that mechanism? Fast forward to the 20th century, and the development of neuroscience has raised even more questions. Experiments by neuroscientist Benjamin Libet in the 1980s showed that our brains might initiate actions milliseconds before we become consciously aware of them. This led some to argue that our sense of free will is just a post hoc illusion, that we're simply rationalizing decisions our brains have already made. However, not all scientists agree. Some argue that while unconscious processes may influence us, they don't eliminate the possibility of conscious control. Others point to quantum mechanics, where at the smallest levels of reality, outcomes seem probabilistic rather than determined. Could this randomness reintroduce the possibility of free will? Psychological and environmental influences. Beyond biology, psychology and environment play a significant role in shaping our choices. Consider how much of our behavior is influenced by upbringing, culture, and social conditioning. Are we really free to choose when we are shaped by factors like parental expectations, peer pressure, or economic circumstances? Psychologists have found that many of our decisions are driven by subconscious biases and heuristics. mental shortcuts that help us make quick judgments but may bypass rational deliberation. For example, marketing and advertising often manipulate these biases to influence our choices without us realizing it. Does this mean we are not truly free? Or does it simply mean we need to be more aware of the influences on our behavior? The compatibilist approach: free will and determinism together. While the debate between free will and determinism seems like an either-or proposition, some philosophers have found a middle ground. This is called compatibilism, the idea that free will and determinism can coexist. Thinkers like David Hume argue that even if our actions are determined by prior causes, we are still free if we act according to our desires and intentions. For compatibilists, the key is not whether our actions are caused, but whether they align with who we are. If I choose to read a book because I want to, I'm exercising free will, even if my desires were shaped by past experiences. In this view, freedom is about acting in accordance with our inner selves, not about escaping causality altogether. In conclusion, are we free or not? Where does that leave us? Are we free agents, or are we puppets pulled by unseen strings? The truth may lie somewhere in between. Perhaps we are shaped by biology, environment, and unconscious forces, but within those constraints, we still have room to choose how we respond. The debate over free will is not just an abstract philosophical question. It touches on how we live our lives, how we understand responsibility, and how we pursue meaning. Whether you believe in free will, determinism, or something in between, one thing is clear: the quest to understand our freedom is as old as humanity itself, and it continues to challenge and inspire us today. Watch more content in science, philosophy, and psychology on Knowledge tab. Stay curious. Stay inspired.